Thank you, they're back. Bird brand electric scooters have left their winter hibernation and returned to the streets of West Springfield. Western Mass News reporter Olivia Hickey joins us live in studio with more on that. Olivia.
Chris, despite concerns about parking from residents, Mayor Will Reichelt tells me the electric scooters were successful last year, and he's happy they are back in West Side.
They were a great tool for folks to use them, especially in our downtown area to get around.
West Springfield Mayor Will Reichelt talking about the Bird brand electronic scooters, once again taking flight in the town. Through an app, people are able to locate these electronic scooters throughout the community and pay to use them. Reichelt tells Western Mass News it's a great way for people to get around in places where parking can be a challenge, including downtown and notably the Big E Fairgrounds during fair season.
We saw the most rides around the fair, so middle September, end of September, beginning of August, or beginning of October, sorry, because you could park much further away from the fairgrounds, like the town hall parking lot here, for example, and then take a Bird scooter over to the fair and not have to deal with all that traffic.
However, last year, residents expressed concern across social media when the scooters first came to West Side. People sharing photos online and with Western Mass News, showing the scooters left all around town. Reichelt assures residents that a local contractor will be picking them up daily to charge them and move them.
We're trying to focus on putting them in nesting areas, as they say, so they're all kind of in the same place all the time.
We also reached out to Bird. A spokesperson says a reminder about parking responsibly will be sent out to users in the area next week, and shares a statement that reads in part, the Bird app regularly notifies riders of proper parking etiquette. Push notifications remind riders to park and ride responsibly and not to block sidewalks, doorways, or ramps when parking. Additionally, riders can report improper parking or other issues through the community mode function in the Bird app or contacting Bird.
Be respectful and mindful of how you leave it and park it, and make sure that you leave the sidewalk accessible for folks that are in a wheelchair or families, strollers.
Mayor Reichelt says the birds will return to hibernation around the end of October, beginning of November, depending on the weather. Reporting live, Olivia Hickey for Western Mass News.